Relationships are at the heart of business aviation, and networking is key to finding mentors and building a team who can fill in the gaps in your knowledge. Still, as Greystone Advisors principal Jim Lara shared recently on Lindsay Dyer's Business Aviation Collective Podcast, one shouldn't be timid about also acknowledging what you bring to the company.
Everybody's got a different set of skills, Nobody has all the skills.
No.
And, you come across somebody who has a unique skill set, file it away. File that one away, because you may come up against that problem someday. And, it's like the Ghostbusters story, right? Who are you going to call?
Yeah, that's right. Keep that in your Rolodex. Somebody gave me a little tip one time, is because I have a hard time remembering sometimes all of the different people and maybe their skill sets. And she was she suggested writing it down, literally writing everything down. You can't keep it all in your head, but it's like your Rolodex. Okay, people don't have Rolodex, I guess, anymore, but write that stuff down so you can go back and look into it. I
don't know if anybody will be able to see this, but this is a packet that I have of 3x5 cards, and this goes right in my shirt pocket. And this is from Levenger. I'll give them a little plug.
Okay.
They're the online, and you can have them. You can have your initials on here, and it's strong enough so you can write on it. Here's a supply of cards in here. These are my blanks that I'm going to use. Nice. And here are the ones that I need to follow up on that are back here. So it is called a pocket organizer. And I've used this for years.
That is so cool.
I write it all down.
Okay, I'm going to look that up. And then when I find it, I'll pop it in the details section of this podcast. So in case anybody else wants to look at them and perhaps get one, because I struggle with honestly remembering everybody and all the pieces. So I really try hard to stop what I'm doing after I've met somebody and write that stuff down.
Here's another one. For all the pilots that are out there, all the directors of aviation, directors of maintenance techs, line pilots, flight attendants, everybody, make sure you take with you a business card. When you meet somebody, hand them your business card, and this is how you're going to help them remember you. And if they have one, grab one of theirs.
Yep, that's so true. I've kicked myself a few times when I leave the house without it, and they're not going to be able to remember you without it.
Yeah, exactly.
Great idea. So, so we talked a little bit about that networking, and I know this is a little bit maybe out of the organization that we talked about as far as what we're going to talk about along the way today, but you mentioned mentorship. I think suggestions like you just gave us, they're so helpful. You mentioned you had a mentor at Levi's. Maybe could you tell us a little bit more about your mentor / what it means to be a mentor?
Sure. Well, when I have to go back a little bit. So when I was 19, I was advised when I was in college to write my first life plan. And to write it so that it would be reviewed every 6 months. And one of the things that I discovered pretty early is that I wasn't learning enough stuff fast enough as to how the real world works. So a friend advised me to identify somebody in a business circle that I respected, who I thought really had a handle on how to run a business and how to lead people. And that person was Ed Combs of Levi's.
Okay.
And so I was in the IT department. Now, I mean, think about this. I am this lowly programmer in the IT department. And here's the guy's executive VP of Levi Strauss & Company. I mean, you either have to, well, anyway, what I did was I said, well, what's the worst answer I could get? No,
Sure.
right? No is the
Yes.
worst answer.
That's right.
And so I said, I'm gonna approach him. And so I called his secretary and I got an appointment, and I got a 30-minute appointment, which for a senior executive, that's a long time, 30 minutes. And somebody told me that I had 6 seconds to set the hook in the appointment.
Okay.
6 seconds. So I talked to him and I said, Mr. Combs, thank you for seeing me today. I want you to be my professional mentor, and let me tell you how that's going to benefit this company.
Okay, that's
That was
nice.
the opening line, right?
Short and sweet.
Because I've tried to answer the question that everybody should be trying to answer for when they're asking for somebody's help. And that is explaining to that person what's in it for them. Not what's in it for me, but what's in it for them.
Yep.
And Ed became a mentor of mine. Rough, but became a mentor. Then I had another mentor later in my career, was Lou Quaker. And Lou was the president of the turnaround company that I worked for.
Yep.
And Lou was the one who taught me how to write.
Very
how to
important
write.
skill. Yep. Very
Yeah.
important skill.
So at that time, there were no laptops. There were no computers. There were only typewriters.
Yeah.
And there was still carbon paper.
Sure. Yeah.
And if there was one typo on that document, you did it over.
Oh my gosh. Think about that I've used a typewriter, but really I came into doing papers and stuff when the computer was around. But can you imagine typing that all out and having to redo it again? That'd be pretty miserable.
It didn't happen very many times.
I bet not. Yep. You learn
But
pretty quick.
there are mentors are not easy on you. They are tough on you. And they are insisting on excellence. And if you don't buy into excellence, don't sign up for mentorship. And it's a very fast track to help you learn and grow. And I'm forever grateful.
And you mentioned earlier, you talked about the fact that they're going to ask hard questions and they're going to point out difficult things, and important that you're ready for that and receiving of that, open to receiving that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know we talk about mentorship, and the MBAA has a program. Women in Corporate Aviation has it. I think Women in Aviation International has it. There's lots of programs out there. There's lots of people to help. You just have to ask.
You have to ask, and you know, the opportunities are going to be there. But you as an individual have to have that personal initiative and guts to take on the initiatives, because nothing comes easy. Nothing that's worth anything comes easy.
Nope.
You have to demonstrate the personal initiative to make it happen. Nobody else is going to make it happen for you. You're going to have to your mentor will point the way and will maybe open some doors for you, but you've got to walk through those doors.
Yeah.
It's going to be you.
Yep, you do. I love this topic because I think it really easily transitions into the next part that I want to talk about, and that's specifically on the scheduler dispatcher. Of course, that's my niche. That's my favorite section of the flight department, if you can have one. And you are uniquely positioned, like I mentioned before, because you've seen so many different flight departments. I am a really big advocate of schedulers and dispatchers moving upwards, being part of the leadership and management decisions. But there's a few things that sometimes hold us back. In fact, what would you think? What would be the biggest thing that schedulers and dispatchers maybe lack in order to move into that position at the table?
I think a lot, excuse me, I think a lot of schedulers and dispatchers don't really perceive how important they are. And they think they're a little cog on a big wheel.
Yeah.
And I think that's completely the wrong way to think about it.
Mhm.
If you can visualize this, Lindsay, maybe some of your listeners can visualize this. Think of a wagon wheel. Think of
Mhm.
a big wagon wheel.
Yep.
Well, there's 5 spokes on that wagon wheel in any business aviation operation.
Yeah. Mhm.
But the hub, the center of that wagon wheel, where everything comes together,
Mhm.
is scheduling and dispatch.
Yep.
That is the hub of the operation.
Yeah.
And that person who's leading that operation it is part of the senior leadership of that organization for sure,
Right.
every time.
Yeah.
And if that person isn't part of the leadership and doesn't have that strength, that organization, that aviation organization, will never be a strong one. Never.
Right. Yep. I totally
So
agree.
that person it's the hub of the operation.
Greystone Advisors offers reality-based, value-packed consulting to help flight departments get to great. Learn more at greystoneadvisors.com and check out episode 39 of the Business Aviation Collective Podcast for the full discussion. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and other platforms.